in this clip, you're sitting here seeing real world adoption. First, Bitcoin was just some type of digital money that nerds traded, and now countries have adopted it, nation states have adopted it, and people are using it to buy groceries in the grocery store. Bitcoin is changing the world and changing lives. Buy Bitcoin. And with that, you see that adoption in that clip is happening. Bitcoin is slowly becoming integrated into everyday life in certain parts of the world. That clip there was in El Salvador, but 10 years from now, what's it going to look like in a lot of other nation states across the globe? As Bitcoin becomes to grow and mass adoption occurs, the future is already here. So are you going to be one of the ones that is the last one to adopt, or are you going to be one of the early adopters? And with that, what's happening, Crypto Crew? Sean's coming back at you, another cryptocurrency video. We have a jam-packed video today, getting straight into the technicals. We're looking at the charts. You don't want to miss this. So looking at this update from Credible Bull, and we're going to be taking a closer look at this and understand why we agree. We're looking at the Bitcoin dominance here, and what have we told you? Have you been listening to any of our videos? We've been showing you that the 20 moving average and the 200 were extremely far apart. Right here and also right here. You can see the distance between the 20 and the 200. And what have we told you about these two lines? These two lines continue to converge and diverge, meaning they pull apart and come back together. That's how these moving averages have the relation. And looking at the RSI, you see the RSI has been stair-stepping its way up, and also the 20 has been coming up to cross over the 200. Now, until the 20 gets invalidated, meaning that the price action or the Bitcoin dominance percentage comes down and flips below this 20, then you can start to raise your eyebrows and say, okay, maybe Bitcoin dominance might cool off and we could see this come back down to the downside. But right now, what do we see? There's multiple levels that you need to pay attention to. The level right here, the 43% level, this level right here, the 47% level, and this level right here is the 49% level. These are stair steps. So right now, what do you see with the price action? You're just coming up and stair stepping, putting in higher highs and higher lows. So the trend's your friend to the end. The other thing you want to look at is this 20 moving average is coming up and also crossing this 200, which is bullish. So are we going to get this cross to the upside? And then you got to look, once this crosses, is the Bitcoin dominance going to come back down, and is it going to hold that 20 moving average? Because it could just continue to ride this up to the upside until it finally tops out in the future. So that's what you want to pay attention to. The trend's your friend to the end, and during this pullback here, this pullback, and these little micro pullbacks, you're going to see some alts that are sort of taking off. A lot of alts are in bottoming out structures, but all haven't taken out. So it's not a full-blown alt season yet, but Bitcoin dominance might still have some gas in the tank. Another reason why we're saying this, if we zoom in on the RSI, we see that this previous peak of the dominance, what did it do? It actually put in a higher high. We haven't seen a divergence yet. A divergence would look like once this puts in a lower high, and the price action here would then put in a higher high. But every time this puts in a higher high, the RSI, the dominance is stair-stepping with it. So we still think there's some gas in the tank. And we can look at the total 3 crypto market capitalization and see what we see and why there could be a difference. Looky here. This price action here actually broke out of some macro resistance that's been acting as resistance since November of 22. We came up and hit our head on it once, twice, and we just flipped it. Now, if we zoom into this price action, what do we anticipate? What do we see? We flip this from resistance to support, and then we really haven't had that volume yet come to the upside. Are we going to get this big bounce? We could see another leg higher for alts, potentially. But also, you just have to be mindful looking at the RSI. If we look at this peak here, we look at this peak right here, you can see that this peak, the second peak right here where it put in a higher high, actually put in a higher low. and the price action went up higher. So could this be the local top for alts until we get a cool off? So could this be a fake out? Are we going to fall back below this, hit our head, and then have a continuation to the downside? Could that be what we see temporarily for the alt market? Now, looking at the alt market, we're not that overextended on the 20 to 200 distance, but that doesn't mean we can't come back down, break back below this, and then retest this 20. That'll be a major level to pay attention to when this 20 continues to move its way up. And if it breaks below this, there is a possibility that the alts could come back down and retest this 200 once again when this continues to move over in this fashion. So keep this in mind. This could be a scenario that just hasn't played out yet because you've got to let the market come to you. Looking at the Bitcoin price action, what do we see? We see this similar price action with the Bitcoin price. So you see that we put in a higher low and then a higher low on the dominance, on the RSI. Right here, this was a peak and the price actually went higher, and then another peak. So this could be an M pattern for the RSI, and the RSI could be getting ready to just cool off and come to the downside to reset. Look at all this distance between the 20 and the 200. If Bitcoin pulls back, the Bitcoin dominance could then come back up and the alts could bleed. And then this right here would play out and have an invalidation scenario to have the alts cool off. So are we in a full-blown alt season yet? You have to wait and be patient. The alts could go up higher. We're not saying that's not a probability, but Bitcoin could also pull the whole market back while it cools off to have a reset and then have that continuation and bump and run to the upside. Because Bitcoin's price action, as you see, this $31,000 level is a major level to pay attention to. Even looking back from January of 2021, you can see that this has acted as support, resistance, multiple times. And since this has acted as resistance right here and right here, when we broke through this, we didn't have a back test. Like, we didn't even look past it. We didn't even come back down to it. Look, right now, we just had this major wick and been going up to the upside. So is Bitcoin going to actually come back down here, let the moving averages reset, and retest this, flipping resistance to support? Could this be what's in the cards? And then going into the halving, we stair step our way up and get ready for that blast off. This will pull down the entire market. So you have to be mindful of that. Don't feed into all the hype because Solana and Chainlink and some others have blasted off. Those are just a few of the overall total 3 market cap. Now, looking at the total 3 minus USDT divided by Bitcoin, what do we see? This is looking at this on a macro scale, and you can see that, right now, this still has been putting in a lower low, and right now at the current time it's recording, a lower high. There's no guarantee that we're going to come up and break this level. We have to pay attention to the 0.48 level, and you can see that the 200 is coming down. And there's a lot of distance, but could we get even stretched even farther? That's a possibility and a potential. If we look at this on the 5-day and zoom out on the chart, we can see that we are below this macro support line. Now, we acted as support once, twice, and came back down. We fell through it and are now hit our head once. And right now on the 5-day, if we zoom into this price action, we can see that we wicked up, got rejected, wicked up, we're sort of running out of steam and still putting in lower highs and lower lows. So on the RSI, pay attention to this as well. This level is a major level to pay attention to because you can see that this level right here since January of this year has acted as somewhat of a resistance. Right now it looks like we're breaking out of it, but we're still below that 20. When the Bitcoin melts, could this send this down to this 0.26 level? This is what you have to pay attention to. If we get back above this, then we could see this ultimately narrowing this gap or making it stretch even farther. If the price action went like this, the 200 would then start to curl its way down along with the 20, and there'd be even more distance. But if this breaks above this, we're going to see that
this gap here narrow in the upcoming months. So this is something you have to pay attention to. Right now, this is a pivotal point of the market. Bitcoin is sitting right at 52, and it is breaking down as far as the dominance goes. So the alts, you're going to have some alts that are rallying. But as you see, we could break all the way down to this level, just tap this 20 and have a continuation. And technically, that would still be putting in a higher low from the previous low here. And Bitcoin can continue to have this stair step to the upside. So is the Bitcoin dominance done with the rally? We don't think so. We could be wrong, but you have to wait and look at these invalidation levels. The invalidation level for the Bitcoin dominance is around that 48% level. Could we cool off and go back down to 50? That's a possibility, most definitely, until we have that continuation to the upside. If the ETF gets passed, there's a higher probability that Bitcoin is going to go up a lot faster than the alts because it's going to be a Bitcoin ETF. The alts may rally, but then you'll see this dominance maybe have a surge to the upside, where that's 58, 60% before that cooling off happens and that ultimate alt rally happens. That's probably going to happen at some point in 2023, mid to late, potentially. You have to wait and see. If the dominance doesn't hold right now, we could see an alt rally if Bitcoin falls all the way back down to the 40 level. Don't think that's going to be the case with the ETF, but you just have to wait and see. These are the invalidation points, and this is what the Bitcoin bros see. So don't buy into all the FOMO because a few altcoins have just popped off. That's how the market catches you off guard. You go all in, thinking the alts are going to have a continuation. Bitcoin makes the market dump, or Bitcoin rips and makes alts dump against its valuation. So keep this in mind. And with that, I'm Sean with Bitcoin Bros. You guys like this content, go ahead and smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and show us some love. We appreciate the support. With that, that's all I have for you today. And I'm out.